Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today's tutorial will demonstrate how you can colorize black and white photos. I'll begin by telling you I am not a professional, I am not an expert, I am simply a novice. So this is going to be a technique for my fellow novice users out there. And if you can use a mouse and if you can color with a crayon, this technique will be perfect and very easy to use for you. We'll begin by opening up the photo we'll use. I'll open up a photo I call Float. This was my son floating in front of a shed. At a future date, I'll do a tutorial to show you how to do this particular trick. It's pretty cool. But for now, this is a perfect photo to use for today's demonstration. Before I begin, I'll tell you that everything that you're going to colorize, be it the skin, the shack, the grass, the trees, whatever, each would have to be done in its own separate layer. So we're going to open up a layer, and I'll start with the skin, so I'll call this layer Skin. The reason why it's important to colorize each item in its own layer is down the road you're going to be making adjustments to each thing. And if you put everything on one layer, then let's say to adjust the skin, you're going to be throwing the color off on everything else. And that will not turn out very well. But if you do it separately, you can adjust each and every single thing on its own without affecting everything else, and you'll get a much better result at the end. Okay, I picked color I'm going to use for his skin. So what we'll do is we'll open up, I'll use the middle wheel of my mouse to zoom this up, and I'm going to right click my mouse to bring the diameter of the paintbrush a little bigger. There we go. And I'll begin by coloring in his arm. Now, I said that this is like using a crayon, and as you can see, it really is. You're using the mouse and you're coloring him like you're coloring with a crayon. Do his leg. Now, I'm not really doing the neatest, nicest job here for the sake of time. I'm just going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. And when you do yours, I'm sure you'll be a little more careful. You'll take your time. You won't make a lot of mistakes. Right-click the mouse, bring up this panel to bring the diameter of the brush down so I can do his hands. Yeah, so take your time and you won't be making a lot of mistakes, and you won't be overlapping and all the things that I'm doing right now. Okay, we'll do his other hand. If you do make mistakes during this process, there are ways of correcting it. I'll show you later on in this tutorial how to correct any little issues you may have. I'll do his foot. Okay, good. Now, in doing his face, his hair is dark. So if you color over the hair a little bit, that's okay, because it won't show through the dark hair or anything that's dark. Okay, there we go. We'll do his ear, do his neck, and I'll right click my mouse. I'll bring the diameter of the brush down a little bit more so we can do this little tiny area in the neck. Again, see, it's going over the shirt. It's okay, don't worry about that. We can get around that later on. Okay, so there, his skin is done. Next thing I'll do is open up another layer, and we'll call this layer Shack. Now I have chosen a color for the shack. Here we go. And we'll begin. Now I can use the brush on the shack, but I won't. It's a lot of linear lines and angles. So what I can use is the polygonal lasso tool. And what I'll do is I'll just box out the areas that I want to color in. See that? Boxing out this left side. Again, I'm not being very careful for the sake of time. I'll use the paint bucket and I fill it in. I'll do this little, how about I do up here right now? I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do the entire shack. I'm going to be pausing this, and I'll fill in the rest of it, and then we'll come back on so you don't have to sit here and watch me do each and every single bit here. I'll go around this pipe. I put electricity in the shack at one point, and I took it out because I really didn't need it, and I left this stupid pipe, which is like really an eyesore, but what the heck. I'll go around his sneaker. Now you could use the magnetic brush, or lasso rather. If you use the magnetic lasso, it may be easier for you, but I don't know. I kind of like using this one because it's I think I get a little more control. Sometimes the magic lasso can do some weird things. There we go, around his shoe. Up his leg. We'll go across here. I'm not going to worry about the details in there. And go up, over, and go up. Okay, we have that whole area boxed out. Again, I'll go to the paint bucket and I'll fill that in. And I'll do one more thing on the shack before I pause this. How about I do this? Okay, here we go. Great. Now, again, I'm going to pause this. I'll do the rest of the shack, and then I'll come back on, and we'll continue on with the rest of the photo. Be right back. Okay, we're back. See that? Just like magic, the shack is all done. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new layer, and this layer we will call, well, let's say grass. Let's do the grass. I will pick a nice green for the grass. I mean, that's an obvious choice, I think. How about a lighter green? Okay. Now I can use the brush for the grass, but again I'm going to use my lasso for the grass because it is straight lines here, and again for the sake of time. And we will box out the grass area that we want to color in. There we go. Oops. What did I do there? Told you I'm not an expert. Okay, let's step back. There we go. Alright, now, again I will use my paint bucket. And we colored in the grass. Next thing, we'll open up another layer, and we'll call this layer trees. How about that? We'll do the trees. And I'll select a darker green for the trees. And now for the trees I will use the paintbrush. How's that? Let me deselect that lasso tool down there. And I'll right click my mouse, bring up this panel. I'll bring up the diameter of my brush here. Okay. Now we'll begin coloring in the trees. Now what I could do if I was like really doing this for a keeper, all these lines here, all these electric lines, I would remove them from the photo. And again, in another tutorial I'll show you how to do that. And once we remove those lines, it will be a little more of a natural, cleaner, less ugly tree line up there. Okay, so we'll continue to do the trees up here. Notice again I'm overlapping into the shack there a little bit, but that's okay. We're just sacrificing some neatness here for the sake of time. And again, that could be corrected at another point during this process. Let's get this in. Okay, we'll color in over here. See this little area up here? That's a silhouette because the bright sun is behind them, and even if you color it in, you're not going to really see anything but a dark silhouette anyway, so you don't have to color that in if you don't want to. But for the sake of this tutorial, I will color it in anyway. So what we'll do is right click, bring the diameter of my paintbrush down, and I can color in those little areas up here a lot easier. Okay, there we go. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is, how about we do his shirt? The pants is black, so we'll just leave the pants be. So we'll call this shirt. And the shirt, I'll make a nice blue. Right click my mouse, bring the diameter of the brush up a little bit more. And we'll color the shirt. Okay. Notice with the brush, I use the diffused brush here rather than the solid. I just think it does a little nicer job, a little more natural. Okay, next thing we'll do is the sky. Open up a new layer, and we'll call this layer Sky. And for the sky, we'll make it a lighter blue, and we'll fill in around the area of the sky. Now, I mean, I know you're looking at this thing right now and you're saying, what the heck is this nut talking about? Look at this strange, blotchy, ugly thing that he's doing here. And it does look that way right now. I'll give it to you for that. But bear with me. Bear with me. Stay with me through to the end. And you'll see how this entire thing magically comes together, and how you'll have an amazing colorized photo when it's complete. Color in the sky a little bit there. Okay, and okay, so there we have it. We have this very strange and weird looking photo here. That's, I mean, look at it. I mean, the guy over here, he looks like a carrot. I grant it. But now we're going to make the magic begin. Okay? First thing we're going to do is do the adjustments of the skin. Now, up here, you see this? It says normal. We're going to click on that, and we're going to go to color. Ah. Let me bring that up. Use the middle wheel of my mouse to bring this up. Then we're going to go up here next to the color. It says opacity. We're going to open that up, and we're going to bring the opacity down. The opacity basically adjusts the transparency of that layer. And you know, this is full, and this is 0. So we're going to bring it to where we have very close to a natural skin color. How's that? Okay. Next thing we're going to do is go to the shack. We're going to go up where it says normal. We're going to select color. We're going to go to opacity, and we're going to bring that down a little bit to give it a little more of a natural look. Go. We're going to go to grass. We'll go where it says normal, select the color. We'll go up to the opacity, and we will bring that down. Wouldn't it be great if this is how you can like really make your grass green, rather than all those chemicals and all those treatments? I mean, just go out and Photoshop your grass. I think that would be wonderful. There we go. And now we'll go to trees. Where it says normal, bring that to color. We will go to opacity, and And we'll bring that down to get the trees a little more of a natural shade. There we go. We will go to shirt. We will take the normal setting and set that to color. Go to opacity and we'll bring that down to give it a little more of a natural color. Notice that shirt here, it's Volt 101. Yes, my son is a huge Fallout fan, and I have to admit, I'm a very huge Fallout fan too. Can't help it, it's just in my nature. Okay, we'll go to sky. Now watch, the sky, if I set the sky to color, it's not going to work. Why? Because it's a white background. With a white background, I personally found setting this to pin light works a little better. I mean, but that's something you're going to have to do. You experiment. See what works for you, see what you like. And for me, the pin light works a lot better under this circumstance. Go to opacity. I'll bring the sky down a little bit. Now I could turn around and say, geez, that sky doesn't quite look like the blue I want it to look like. Or you could say the shirt or the shack doesn't look like the color you want it to be. No problem. Watch this. You go up to image. Adjust. Hue and saturation. Brings up this panel. You go to the hue. And the hue can actually change the color. Regardless of the color you put in, it can change it to whatever other color you want. So I want to make the sky a little more of a hue here. The saturation intensifies the color. The lightness lightens or darkens the color. So I'll darken it just a bit. I'll lighten it just a bit. There we go. So I adjusted the color of the sky. Alright, now you'll notice up here, this is where I said I'm working very quickly, so I'm sacrificing quality for the sake of time. But it's good because this gives you an idea now of how you can correct some of these issues if you run into them. I'm going to take the smudge tool, okay, and watch what I'm going to do up here. I'm going to use the smudge tool to smear the sky into the areas that I messed up here. See that? It's okay to use the smudge tool because you're only smudging a color. If you were on the actual photo itself and you try to smudge, obviously you'll mess up the photo. But the smudge on the color is just mushing the color around a little bit and bringing it where it should be. See what I'm doing here? Now also, you'll see, oh wow, I got too much blue sky on the tree here. No problem. You can do one of two things. You can go to your tree layer and I'll right click and bring the brush size down a little bit. You can either smush the green tree over, though that wouldn't work very well. We'll go to the sky again. Go to the erase tool. Right click, bring up the panel, reduce the diameter, and erase the sky color away from the tree areas. There we go, see? Okay. Get rid of that sky where you don't want it to be. Get rid of that sky where you don't want it to be. And again, I can't emphasize enough to you that I'm doing this quickly, so there's a lot of these stupid errors. If you do this very, very carefully and very meticulously, you won't have a lot of these errors to have to correct. And you'll have a much nicer result. I've done a few other things, and maybe at a future point I'll put them on to show you how, when you're careful, how detailed and how wonderful a picture can turn out, where it's just amazing. Now, let's look over here at the shack. You see around here where the shack and his leg messed up. Once again, go to the shack layer, use your smudge tool, and just smoosh in the areas. And again, because it's only a color layer you're dealing with, you're not messing up the actual photo. And it's okay to smoosh around the color because it, there we go. You can see the leg, let's get this here. You can see the leg here, wasn't quite done 100%. Again, I'll go to the leg using the smudge tool, and I'll just push that color right along to where it should be. There we go. Okay, so this is just a general idea. Now look at that. We'll go back to the black and white, and we'll bring you to the color one step at a time. Black and white, skin. Let me adjust that skin a little bit more. I'll go to the opacity, and I will adjust that skin a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Skin, shack, grass, trees, shirt, sky. This is how you get a black and white photo, and this is how you can turn it into a color photo. Very easy. Again, if you notice, what I used was the mouse. I colored things in like I would if I had a crayon, and by just doing a couple little clicks on your desktop here for your Photoshop, look what you can do. So dig out some of those old black and whites that you have in the closet, old family pictures. Get out your Photoshop or whatever photo editor that you may have that's comparable to a Photoshop. I mean, as long as your photo editor has the basic features that Photoshop has, you can do this process, and it should give you very, very, very nice results. And hopefully you'll be able to amaze your family by showing them some beautiful colorized pictures of your old black and whites. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you give this a try, and I hope you subscribe if you like what you see here. Until I see you the next time, thank you very much for stopping by, and good photoshopping.